Hi, and welcome to the 14th Muse on the Introvert Biz Growth podcast, the show where I talk to introverts who grow their business and make a difference. As always, I'm Sarah Santacroce, your host, and today it's time for another Muse episode, which is unedited, raw content, no interview, no intro music, no bells and whistles. And I share these muses to make you think, to inspire you, to break the rules, and to invite you to be part of the gentle business revolution. In the last Muse episode, number 13, 2 weeks ago, I shared my vision of the gentle business revolution and invited you to join its Gentle Business Alliance. Go back to that episode if you missed it. So it's Muse number 13. But in today's episode, I want to focus on anxiety-free marketing, which is the building block of the gentle business revolution. The main mission of this gentle business revolution is to bring more kindness and empathy to the business world. So it's really a gentle revolution. Like some people told me, this is a strong word. And yes, it's a strong word because it needs a strong movement, but that doesn't mean that it's not a peaceful movement. It is. That's why it's the gentle business revolution, right? And so who says business also says marketing. And as you might know, I've been part of this online marketing world for over a decade. I first started my business in around 2007 and have been in this online marketing world since then. So it was clear to me that the way that we could bring more gentleness to the business world would have to start with a different way of marketing. I've been wearing a mask in marketing for many years, and quite honestly, I've lost track of my authenticity countless times in an effort to blend in, to belong, and to succeed. Because I was marketing my business wearing a chameleon suit or a mask. And that suit gave me comfort because it was fitting for any kind of situation and any kind of client. And with that suit on, I was so adaptable because I could just blindly follow advice of all the big marketing gurus out there. And I tried a little bit of everything, changed my color depending on the situation. But no more. I'm sick and tired of faking it. And I'm sick and tired of seeing other people fake it and using manipulation and persuasion and hacks in marketing and fear, really, because that's what's going on in marketing and that's why it creates so much anxiety. So I decided it was time for a different approach, a way to market my business, our businesses, authentically and with integrity, according to our beliefs and values, a gentle and kind way, a way that doesn't give ourselves anxiety, but also doesn't induce anxiety in other people, a way that doesn't generate fear, and where there's no fear of how other people will think of us. And that's what I'd like to share with you today. In January of this year, I launched a building block of the gentle business revolution, and I called it anxiety-free marketing. 10 brave souls took me up on my invite and joined me on this journey. And we spent 10 weeks together. We laughed, we cried, we co-created a new marketing paradigm shift, really a holistic way to market ourselves. And Lisa Peterson, who's also my personal business coach, was one of the participants. And I'm super excited to share this interview with her, where she shares her experience of on being part of this 10-week program. So here's my conversation with Lisa. Hi, Lisa. So good to see you and hear you.
So glad to be here, Sarah.
Thank you. So you were one of the participants of the first beta round of anxiety-free marketing, and I thought I'd bring you on today's episode to kind of talk about the experience. And so I want to ask you couple of questions around your marketing. And the first one would be, how did you feel about marketing prior to the program? What did that mean for you, marketing with integrity, or just in general, how you marketed your business?
So I have to say, I've been on a journey for the past 5 years to try to figure out how to have my marketing align with who I am. However, what I think people can understand is and know in their own experiences is how easy it is to get overwhelmed by a lot of information, and then still, no matter how much experience you have, find yourself feeling some sort of analysis paralysis where you still have trouble making decisions about what's going to be best. Like you've done the research, you've looked inside, you want to make sure you feel good. And I feel like I was doing all of that before. But what I would say is there was still some confusion about the shoulds versus the, I really, really, really want to just do this. And I think that's the state that I came into in the course.
Yeah, I want to just highlight the shoulds because that's kind of in the marketing copy, and Wit also mentioned that. I think that is a big topic that we all feel like we have all these shoulds because that's all we see out there is we're being bombarded with shoulds. You should do a webinar, you should be on Facebook, you should do this and should do that. And so it's so confusing to figure out, well, should I really? Is this going to get me results if I do it, whatever other people say? And
funny kind of comment on that. I have been working with some copywriting coaches for over a year now, and they're back to doing some teachings. And I was just listening this week, and they gave the top 10 words that help you to convert and get people to do what you want them to do. So the way I interpret that is the top 10 words that work on the unconscious to cause you to do things you don't really know you're going to do, right? They're manipulative, unfortunately. So guess what one of the words was?
Should, maybe.
Yes. Should. And I cringed, right? Because we've been doing this work together, and that's not a word I like to use in my marketing. But let's just be clear, that is a very effective word to get people to do things. And I think this is what we're trying to break the paradigm on, is when we're really conscious like you and I are, and we want to be conscious in not just our marketing, but everything in life, we also become sensitive to those techniques. And so they don't actually work on us as well as they might work on the general population. And right. So the people you and I want to work with are more conscious. So if you're going to try to find those people in the world, you better not be using those techniques, regardless of how effective they are.
Yeah, because they see right through it. I think our people are smarter than the average newbie in the internet marketing world, and they actually see what you're doing, and they're like, "Why would Lisa do something like that?" Right? That's not how I see her, and so that's where it's so important to just do whatever feels good rather than applying those templates that everybody else says that that's the proven 10 words, right?
Right. Well, funny enough, when I first started working with these copywriters, I sent out this letter that I thought was really good. And people wrote to me saying exactly what you just said, like, Lisa, that really doesn't fit with how I see you. And I was like, I went into sort of the shame corner, like, dang, this is what we do as marketers. We test things, we don't know, but they reminded me of my truth, thank God. And I didn't do it again.
Right. Yeah. And like I share a lot, I've done these things so many times because you just don't know. And if somebody else, a guru, tells you, well, this is what works, you're like, oh, good, let's try. And then it's just like, what's just going on for you, Sarah? So, all right. Well, tell us a little bit about the program and what happened to you as you went through the process of anxiety-free marketing?
To me, it had a lot to do with giving myself permission to not listen to all of those voices. So, the should, the manipulation, like, even though I didn't think I was doing it, when we got into the class, what I realized is there were still parts of me that felt like I had to prove something. I had to go beyond what I was comfortable doing and bring that into my marketing. And so week by week, that voice started to diminish, and in its place, the more it went away, the real authentic Lisa started to appear more vividly with greater detail. And you were giving us exercises that allowed us to go into being so authentic and true to ourselves, even if we couldn't find any examples out there in the internet of people doing what we wanted to do. We trusted that, and we just allowed ourselves to sort of, with writing, it's like what this divine author within is something that I use in writing my books. And it's like we were able to access that divine person within and let her start to say, well, this is what you really want to share. This is how you really want to talk to people. And that's what was happening throughout the whole process.
Right. What comes to mind for me is the video that I have on the sales page right now, where instead of learning all the lines by heart, I just decided, well, since this is a different kind of marketing program, I'm going to just read the text. And then I look down to the notes and look back up. And of course, when I shared it with people whom I respect and, who are in this online world, they all said, it's a pity you're looking down. And I'm like, I know, but that's just how it feels good to me, because it has to be anxiety free, and that's the point of this sales page. That it's just going to be me, and that's how I want it.
Well, one of the things I'll think about, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I was growing up, I did. And like, you think of all those late night show hosts, they have a list of notes in front of them, and they're looking at those and they're checking them, and nobody tells them that they're not professional because they're looking at kind of what they've got to ask or what have you. So the idea that we're supposed to be perfect and polished and know every exact thing to say in a short amount of time creates anxiety inside, and there's no way it's not going to be projected out into the screen. Now, granted, the left brain is going to look at it and want to see perfection, because the left brain wants control and everything to be precise. But the problem is we aren't actually selling to the left brain. We are selling to the right brain and the emotion and the realness of our being. So it ultimately becomes far more effective in communicating to that side of the person. And that side of the person doesn't really care what you're doing. They're going to say, how does she feel to me? How is she holding herself? What are the words? Are they having meaning to me? And
Right.
That's what matters.
I remember you shared a video with me of I think it was a sales page as well, from like quite a few years ago. And you were like all dressed up, and it was like, the perfect video. And yet, like, there was no connection. I felt like you're just one of a million, abundance coaches. And like, now when I look at your videos, there's such a spark in you that you cannot compare the two anymore. And you're right. What really sells is not, how perfect we look, but if we get this connection, because marketing, it's all about connection, right?
It is. And again, back to, who is your audience? Do you want to have clients who you have deep, meaningful connection with, that you learn just as much from them as they are learning from you? Do you want to have people who pay you really well because they know that when they show up in your presence, they are going to be uplifted and they're going to walk away feeling inspired about what they're working on? Like, let's just be honest. Who do you really, really want to work with? And who might you be working with that's not serving you and doesn't cause you to feel that? Because I think this is a big difference in the anxiety-free model or the regular model.
Right. Yeah. And it's why we kind of reverse the model and start with ourselves in order to figure out, well, who do I really want to work with? Right. Yeah. Tell us about the, the outcome. So after the program, you went right into launching your Mindful Millionaire program. And so tell us a little bit how maybe anxiety-free marketing had an impact on how you marketed this program, which is a huge success, right?
Yeah, it's by far the most successful launch I've ever done, and it exceeded my expectations, which is always amazing because I feel like I set pretty high expectations for myself. What was so interesting is I did not approach it with anything but my full authentic self showing up, who knew that she wanted to bring a program in service to my clients and to the people on my email list. Like I knew I had something to offer. The question was, how do I show people that what I think is really amazing is amazing for them too? And so they can self-select. So there were a couple things. And again, I'm very much into letting things happen. So I think we were still doing the course together through the time that I had a retreat in January. At the retreat in January, one person said, hey, could we do this infinite abundance meditation challenge together in follow-up to the retreat? And there were like 6 of us or 7 of us. And I was like, that's a great idea. Thank you. I'll set it up. So after they left, this is very organic. I thought, well, if I'm going to invite them and I have to do all the programming and Infusionsoft to support them to do it, why don't I offer it to my clients? And then so many people took advantage of it. Then I was like, well, why don't I offer it to the people who've done Infinite Abundance before? And then they got all excited. And so the next thing you know, I had 350 people, like I brought it to my email list, who were all participating in this challenge together, like 7 people. And within 2 weeks, we had 350 people, not even 2 weeks. Like it was crazy, like a week or and a half. So that began the seed of me just stepping into who I am, doing what I do best, which is teaching, not selling, not marketing, teaching. I did it. And then when that finished up, I still came back to, okay, now you have a program that you'd really like to bring to people. People are asking you what comes next. How can you do this in the most organic way possible? And pretty much because I was asking those questions because of the course, I was being so clear that I didn't want to do anything to take me out of this beautiful feeling inside when I marketed. And so I just stayed with it. It was like, well, how can you be of service with this? And I think you inspired me because you were doing Q&As originally to start the anxiety-free marketing program to begin with. And I love those conversations. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to copy Sarah and I'm going to try a Q&A first. I'm not going to even do a webinar. Many of these people already know a bit of what I'm doing. So did that, huge success. That was pretty much all it took to get most of the people filled up in the program. I offered another free workshop, didn't really do much selling. That had a little bit of an impact, but it was after my early bird. And, I was telling you, it's like every time now I feel like from now on, because of anxiety-free marketing, because of the timing of all of these things, I learned that the most important thing is to stay true to myself and to monitor how I'm feeling through the process, and to not go anywhere that I am not going to sleep well at night, to feel good about it. And I think that because I felt so good, it translated into people feeling really good about making the decision. There was no sales whatsoever. People would ask me, should I join? And I'm like, tell me why you want to join, and I'll let you know if that's a fit or not. Like no kind of, you should do this, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Everyone joined on their own decision that this was the right place for them to be. And the group inside now is so different. Like it's so different because people know they're supposed to be there And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, what I really liked in this launch is that you really made yourself available for everyone, like whether it is during the Q&A or, you even said jump on a call with me personally. So it really came over as, yeah, you being of service, and you just know that this is going to help people, and that's why you're doing it. So it all comes back to your passion, right? Because that's what you're passionate about, and you know that it works. And so, yes, you're obviously wanting to have people on the program because you just know that it's going to help them. And and I think that should be the key message to anyone selling anything. Well, if you don't believe in your own program or service, then yes, obviously marketing it is going to be very hard. But that's kind of the first module of anxiety-free marketing is, finding this passion. I think I had this conversation where passion sometimes is a bit overrated. We talk about passion a bit too much, and then people get kind of anxious about not being passionate or not finding the passion in their business. And I think we can find passion even if it's in little things that we do in our business. So right now, maybe you don't feel passionate about your business, but you'll find little things that you're passionate about. And so that's what really needs to come out is in the marketing. And that's what I really noticed in your launch, is that it's just you being of service because you're so passionate about what you do.
Yeah. I mean, that we ended up with 48 people in the program. The other thing I want to mention is when you do it this way, like I think the last time I did this, I had 30, and I knew that trusting myself meant that I could hold the space for a bigger group, but I would have to say 50 was, now looking at what I'm working with, was a perfect number for me to learn how to step into that. So adding 20 people. And because of doing it this way, that was the number that I needed to learn from before I do it maybe next time for 100 people. So it's so beautiful and supported. And I'm just really excited about the future as a result.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe just to end it here, what would you say, what kind of role did the community play in the anxiety-free marketing program?
The community is the cornerstone, because what you did in facilitating was you asked the questions and you allowed the community to work through what were the answers that all of us needed to hear from each other, from ourselves. And so we're all supporting and facilitating and holding the space for this transformational experience. So we're learning just as much from you as we are from other participants. You attract a very educated, very skillful, very knowledgeable and experienced group of people, in my opinion. Every single one of them had something that I could learn from. And that caused me to want to show up live as every single time, right? Because I'm learning and I'm growing, and it's not just you, it's everyone that's a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I'm doing it again, because it was so much fun, and I learned so much, and I continue to learn. So that's why I'm announcing a second beta round, and I can't wait for, a different group of people to show up.
I'm so excited about that. I know that anyone who participates is going to be in for an amazing, exquisite ride where they're going to learn things that they didn't even know they needed to learn, that are going to profoundly transform their marketing in a beneficial way.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, because that's what I realized. It's like, I thought I was putting together a marketing program, and it ended up being something way bigger that I didn't realize what kind of impact it would have on people and on myself. So I'm grateful for that. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me, Lisa.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, listeners, too, for enjoying, hopefully, this conversation. It's been super fun.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed listening to this conversation as much as I enjoyed recording it. Well, I just announced a second beta round of anxiety-free marketing starting May 6th, and I want to tell you why. First of all, I really see this as my life's work together with the gentle business revolution. So if this is supposed to have the impact I want it to have, I know I need to co-create this program together with the ideal client. Too many times have I just created something because I thought there was a need and then have it to be a complete flop. So this time I really want to co-create it with the ideal client, because in the end, that's who it's for, right? The second reason is that when my mom and I looked at my astrology themes for this year, in January on my birthday, learning, the word learning was the big one. And boy, am I learning. I'm really learning to just trust in the process. I'm learning to not be perfect. I'm learning to really understand what people yearn for. I'm learning that sometimes showing up is good enough. I'm learning to open my heart and let people in. And I'm learning to accept myself just the way I am and to go out there and talk about things that I never expected to talk about. And it's all good. So let me tell you a bit more about anxiety-free marketing. It's a different kind of marketing program. I think you got that. It's an 8-week live virtual training program that reveals an unconventional approach to marketing so that you can grow a successful business that is no longer kept small by fear of what others think. It's designed not only to help you grow your business with ethical marketing practices, but also create a more meaningful life and make the world a better place. It's based on a remodeled version of the 7 Ps of marketing. So I took the 7 Ps of marketing as a basis, but the 7 Ps are now represented in the form of a mandala with ourselves in the middle so that we can market from within. Why a mandala? Because when I looked at the traditional version of the 7 Ps and thought that I want to represent marketing as a process coming from within ourselves, this visual of a mandala came to me, and I had been coloring mandalas in the past, so it was intriguing to me, and I did more research. I spoke to some experts and took a course on mandalas and finally came up with my own representation of the 7 Ps of marketing. My son drew the mandala for me, and you have to go check it out at anxietyfreemarketing.com. And everything in this program is now based on this mandala, even the logo. And what I like about it is that the definition of a mandala is that it's a creative process. And it's a creative process that brings us closer to our center. Mandalas are also described as cosmic diagrams, attempting to represent the essential elements of the macrocosm in an ordered, coherent manner. Exactly. All the 7 Ps of this mandala, and they are passion, personal power, people, product, pricing, promotion, and partnerships, are essential elements of anxiety-free marketing. And we as the marketer are at the center. We market from within. And in anxiety-free marketing, we can cover each of the Ps in one module and kind of going back and forth between the being and the doing, the inner work and the outer work. So passion, personal power, people is more of the inner work, and then product, pricing, promotion, and partnerships are the doing, the outer work. Who is it for? It's for heart-centered entrepreneurs who feel that anxiety around marketing their business. And it's for entrepreneurs who maybe don't feel anxiety, but they're just tired of the traditional marketing model and this manipulation and non-transparency and are ready for a paradigm shift. This is not a beginner course. It really applies to all levels, whether you're just starting out or have been in business since 20 years. So if any of this speaks to you, I'd love to have you join us for the second beta round and help to co-create this marketing paradigm shift. We start on May 6th, and you can find out all the details at anxietyfreemarketing.com. I'm also hosting a free one-page marketing plan workshop on April 26th, if you'd like to attend that one first. Details can be found on the same page, anxietyfreemarketing.com. So if you're listening to this podcast after May 6th, you can still visit anxietyfreemarketing.com, because I will actually turn this into an online program with video content that gives you access to attend one of the live courses in either January or September. So yeah, I'd love for you to check out anxietyfreemarketing.com, or send me an email to sarah@sarahsantacroce.com for more info, or to ask any questions, or just to tell me that this resonated with you. Thank you so much for listening, and I talk to you again next week. Take care.